Years ago, we started getting tips about a lion in a cage. It was from people who used to work at a traveling circus, and they told us that when the circus shut down in 2019, they left the big cat behind. We couldn't believe it. A lion in a cage. How could this be happening in 2019? But these people were adamant that it was true. And so we decided to send a team to go check it out.
Ho, ho, ho!
What we found was one of the saddest things I have ever seen in my career. There was this lion in a tiny cage. He was so skinny that you could see all of his ribs. He hadn't had water for days, and he was absolutely miserable. His name is Leon, and he was being held captive in what was once a traveling circus. They would use him for shows, having him jump through hoops and do tricks.
Ho, ho, ho!
But the owner of the circus was getting older and didn't want to continue anymore. But instead of doing the right thing and finding a good home for Leo, he left him locked up in his cage with no food or water, and he just hoped that someone would come along and take him off his hands, but thankfully, someone did.
Ho, ho, ho!
We managed to get him out of there and take him to our wildlife sanctuary where he could finally live the life he deserved. This is how we saved the lion. As soon as our team heard about Leo, they knew they had to help him. So they traveled to the abandoned circus to try and find him. But they weren't just going in blind. No, they had a tip from one of the former employees about where to look.
Ho, ho, ho!
So they followed the sound of a lion's roar, and there he was, Leo. He was so weak that he could barely move. But even though he was scared and hungry, he still had the strength to try and attack our rescuers. Our team knew that if they wanted to save Leo, they had to act quickly. So they tranquilized him and got him out of his cage.
Ho, ho, ho!
Once they got him to safety, they gave him water and food, and then they waited for him to wake up. When he finally opened his eyes, he looked around confused, but thankfully he seemed to be okay. Our team was so happy that they had managed to save Leo, they carefully loaded him onto a truck, and then drove him to safety.
Ho, ho, ho!
As they were driving, though, they started to realize that they might have made a mistake. You see, Leo was huge and strong, and he started to get more and more agitated as they drove. They could feel him getting bigger and stronger as they went along. And they knew that if he woke up before they got him to the sanctuary, he could easily break free and attack them.
Ho, ho, ho!
They tried to keep him calm by talking to him in soothing voices, but it wasn't really working. Then suddenly, disaster struck. Leo started to thrash around in the back of the truck, and the door flew open. Our team froze in fear as they watched him get bigger and stronger before their eyes. They knew that if he broke free, he could hurt them badly. But Leo didn't attack.
Ho, ho, ho!
Instead, he took one look at them and then ran away. Our team was relieved, but they knew that they had to find him before someone else did. They searched for hours, but there was no sign of Leo. Just when they were about to give up hope, they heard a familiar sound, a lion's roar. It was coming from the nearby forest, and they raced over to investigate.
Ho, ho, ho!
They found Leo standing on top of a hill, looking back at them. He let out another roar, and then he disappeared into the trees. Our team was exhausted, but they were determined to find Leo. And eventually they did. It took them 2 days, but eventually they found him hiding in a cave. They tranquilized him again and put him back in the truck. Then they drove him to safety.
Ho, ho, ho!
When they arrived at the sanctuary, they were greeted by a crowd of people who had come to welcome Leo. They had no idea what to expect when they brought him out of the truck, but they were shocked when he started walking on grass for the first time in his life. He looked around in wonder, and then he let out a mighty roar. It was the first time he had roared since he was a cub.
Ho, ho, ho!
The people watching were in awe as they watched him explore his new home. They couldn't believe how big and strong he was. Leo spent the next few days exploring his new home. He played with other lions, and he learned what it was like to be free. The staff at the sanctuary were amazed by him. They had never worked with a lion before, and they were worried that he might be too dangerous for them to handle.
Ho, ho, ho!
But Leo turned out to be a gentle giant, and the staff soon fell in love with him. One day, though, Leo started to act strangely. He paced back and forth in his cage, and he wouldn't eat or drink. The staff were worried that he might be sick, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong.
Ho, ho, ho!
Then one of the staff members noticed that Leo was looking towards the mountains in the distance, and then it hit her like a ton of bricks. Leo was scared. He was scared of the mountains. It turned out that Leo had been kept in a small cage in the mountains while he was being transported, and he had developed a fear of them. The staff at the sanctuary worked hard to help Leo overcome his fear.
Ho, ho, ho!
They played games with him to distract him from the mountains, and they gave him plenty of food and water to keep him happy. Slowly but surely, Leo started to relax. He began to play again, and he even started to purr. Today, Leo is a happy and healthy lion. He lives at the sanctuary with his new pride.
Ho, ho, ho!
And he has a whole team of people dedicated to making sure that he's comfortable and safe. He gets plenty of exercise and enrichment, and he's given a lot of love and attention. Leo's story is an amazing example of how far a lion can come if they're given the chance. He went from being a scared and skinny captive to a happy and healthy lion.
Ho, ho, ho!
If you think Leo's story is amazing, stay tuned for more stories about rescued animals. You'll be amazed at what these incredible creatures are capable of. If you thought Leo's story was amazing, please hit the like button below. It will help us reach more people and help them learn about all the amazing work that is being done to protect lions and other endangered species. Thanks for watching.
Ho, ho, ho!